Hello there, kia ora. Every time that there's a local election out, you're going to come across candidates promising the world and unable to deliver. The kind who say things like they'll meet with every single interest group and spend days volunteering to learn more about organisations and the people that they work with. Or the ones who are like, no extra debt, I promise, but new bridges and tunnels and other amenities, you can have those. And this week, a new list of candidates dropped that think that they can promise everything and absolutely deliver none of it. The Taxpayers Union Ratepayers Pledge List. The TPU is an organisation that is often cited by academics as an astroturf group. It was founded by partisan political operatives. It lacks transparent, accountable membership. It's modelled on international astroturf groups and pushes campaigns that align with right-wing political and corporate interests. The Herald once described it as corporate lobbying disguised as grassroots activism. And it's really common to find their content on the timelines of a huge chunk of the candidates that have shown up on recent videos. Because not only does it have a really right-wing bias to it, it presents itself as unbiased in its source of information. In this local election, they've been hounding candidates to get campaigns to have them sign up for their ratepayer pledge. Basically, it's a promise to break your council's legs and refuse to take them to the doctor to get them set. They got the face of disinformation propaganda channel Reality Check Radio, Peter Williams, to message and say how disappointed he was that they hadn't signed. Some candidates got follow-up emails claiming to be from voters who had heard the candidate hadn't signed and was about to lose their vote. Some candidates have actually told me that they've received between 4 and 12 emails from the TPU harassing them to sign. And now the group has released their lists, and it seems most of the candidates around the country told them to fuck the fuck right off. You see, the pledge that they wanted to have signed is rage bait, and dangerous rage bait at that. The first pledge was to oppose any measures that will see rates increase over the level of CPI and population growth. This is a surefire way to hobble a council and its ability to undertake core work that councils do. Rates are a marker within CPI measurements, but the costs that councils have increased faster than household costs. For infrastructure materials, that cost has gone up over 60% in 6 years. Not forgetting things like wages and power costs. Large organisations have large bills for those. Populations increase, which means supply of services have increased and the need for infrastructure increases. And if something really shitty happens, like an earthquake or a cyclone or a second-term coalition government, well, a rates cap limits the council's ability to be able to respond in those times by limiting their ability to be able to borrow in emergencies or create a surplus. And we've actually seen that happen in the past few years. Christchurch had a surplus before the quakes. The Hawke's Bay councils have had major cleanup and recovery efforts have to happen after cyclones and heavy weather events. The second pledge was to be more transparent using tools like armchair audits. Basically opening the books to the public and saying, have at it. Most people don't have the technical expertise to be able to understand and factor in complicated multi-year budgets, depreciation rules, targeted and general rates, intergenerational equity and statutory obligations. They strip away context because raw numbers don't tell a whole story, but they make a really cute little TikTok video that you can get on Reality Check Radio to promote. And without any explanation, they can be misinterpreted, weaponized, and, turned into misleading social media content. It's not like the Taxpayers Union aren't beyond cherry-picking data sets, after all, to create ideological narratives around lavish perks or wasteful spending. Take bike lanes, for example. How often have you seen a dollar figure and been told it's expensive and underutilized? Only that figure is, in context of a full transport budget, on average less than 1%, for a tool which requires much less road maintenance costs over time, but also creates infrastructure to enable less cars on the road, which also decreases the amount of maintenance that those roads need. And their third pledge is maybe the most dangerous: to oppose unelected appointments onto council committees with spending and regulatory powers. Since a number of councils have various arrangements with mana whenua in this process, the racist candidates read it as something to hold back Māori from input into council decisions. But it actually means a huge amount of risk in everything that councils do. According to a report from the Auditor General in 2020, 67 of 76 councils around the country had at least one non-elected member in their audit and risk committees. That's 86%. 54% of councils have an independent, non-elected chairperson for that committee. And even though these people are generally experts in the fields that they're working in, they are not elected. The Auditor General considers this the best practice because it means an independence from politics, an oversight process based on objectivity instead of letting councillors mark their own homework, and it means a committee is less likely to be swayed by short-term populism. Like calls from a lobby group demanding a rates cap. And Audit and Risk is a committee that has both spending and regulatory powers. It's a pledge so bad that even Voices for Freedom's most ardent elected members like Selwyn's Elizabeth Munt, Rotorua Lakes' Robert Lee, Auckland West's Ken Turner, and Southland's Jaspreet Boparai refused to sign it. So remember, if you see candidates proudly admitting that they signed it, like almost all of the Better Hamilton and Better Waipa Independent Together and Standing for Waimak members, you can see candidates not only proudly admitting that they would hobble the council and its ability to provide for you and your loved ones, they'd sell it out to unqualified people full of unqualified reckons and happily ensure the systems that protected voters from corruption and populism were removed. Unless, of course, you want to elect people clearly not wanting what's best for you and your community and clearly susceptible to the whims and pressures of corporate-funded secretive lobby groups. I mean, that's entirely up to you, really. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.